it made me think of she let out a breath she didn't even know she was holding. I have done some editing this morning and making some really, really great progress. I say that every single time I finish a draft, but it always feels crazy. 2 chapters left. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Meadow and I am an independent fantasy and romance author. Today I'm coming to you on a very snowy day. For the schools in the area, it is a snow day. I don't know how many centimeters of snow is coming in, but I've walked outside already and it is a lot. So what better way to spend my evening than to do some writing? Right now, I'm currently working on draft 4 of Project Pirate, which for any who don't know is my Greek mythology-inspired sapphic pirate fantasy novel. I am nearing the end of this draft. The goal is before the end of the week and by the end of this vlog, I'm going to have draft 4 completely finished. I don't think this will be too hard of a feat. I'm not doing crazy major edits. I'm doing a lot of line editing right now, just going over the rhythm. The only thing that I might find challenging is just finding the time to sit down and actually write. I've scheduled chunks of time in my calendar in order to sit down and write, but it's really a matter of how my week goes if I'm going to be able to stay faithful to that. Hopefully I can. It is a little bit of a busy week. I mean, I'm filming this on a Tuesday afternoon right now. So already Monday was a no-go. I was at work all day. And I'm going to be doing a lot of evening writing, which I don't typically do. I am much more of a morning writer, but because my mornings and afternoons have been a little bit more busy and will be more busy this week, I'm going to be doing a couple of evening sessions. So we're going to see how that goes. I am super excited to get into some editing this afternoon. I haven't been able to do too much. I think we're just going to hop right into it and get started on some editing. I have 15 chapters left to edit in this draft. Like I said, there is not much left for me to do at this point, so I don't think it'll take too long, but I also don't want to rush myself. So hopefully I can find a good balance. Let's just get into it and start some writing. I was writing for a bit this afternoon when you first saw me, and then, to be frank, I took a nap. While I was editing a chapter, I noticed that my eyes were getting really heavy, and I started to fall asleep, essentially, at my desk. And so that's a big hint that it is time for me to rest my eyes away from the screen for a bit. And I wasn't even necessarily at the screen for very long at that point. I think that was only the first chapter that I was editing for today. I was skating this morning and I just think I exerted myself so much, which is fair. I skated 8 kilometers today, and so I think I was just very tired, and I woke up early today, and so I took a little bit of a nap, and then had some dinner as well. And now I've been writing for the past hour or so. I say writing. When I say writing, I mean editing, obviously. I'm not actually doing that much writing, but anyway. I've been editing for the last hour or so. I am not quite burning out yet, but I think I'm going to reach a point where, despite having taken a nap and having rejuvenated a little bit, I think that I might want to end soon. I'm really not good at writing at night. At this point of the night, I am so my brain is either you're at work, you're at a social event, or you are winding down for the night. And because I'm not at work or at a social event, my brain really wants to wind down and read a book or play a video game or do some sort of craft. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to focus on my editing, because especially what I really want to make sure I'm doing is that I'm not rushing through this editing. I want it to be quality and make sure that I'm actually reading every line in its entirety and making sure that it is what I want it to be, because I would hate to do all this work of reading over these lines for it to not be good. You get me? Okay, so I am going to try to do at least one or two more chapters. I think that leads me at a very solid point. I have essentially, I believe I have 9 chapters. I can't remember now. I was counting them as I went. I think I have 9 chapters left to edit. Technically, what I could do, because I have 3 writing sessions scheduled in my calendar for the next couple of days, I could do 3 chapters in each of the sessions and be good and still make it in time for the end of the week. But a part of me is also like, okay, but what if I have less than that? And then either I do less chapters in those sessions and really take it easy, or I finish early this week. And it means I have more time to edit my video and just more time to do me, I think I'm just going to continue editing. It is around 7 as of filming this, so we'll see how far we get into this evening. All right, I am done for the evening. It is now 8 o'clock. I think that is a pretty good time to end off for the night. I now have, how many chapters here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I now have 7 chapters left to edit of this draft. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Like I said at the beginning, I am only doing line editing right now. I'm not doing anything super major. And so it's been fairly easy to go through this draft. There was one tricky section in the last chapter that I was doing a good rewriting part and adding a little bit more information, which I think had me for a loop there a little bit, but I got through it. We're all good. One thing I wanted to point out that I noticed in this session and in my afternoon session before I took my nap, I, no kidding, 3 times found some wording of the words fell off her tongue. They're not all like that anymore, obviously. If I can read through those in 2 sessions, essentially, that means that they're way too close together. But I apparently really like that phrase, and it's really funny that this is the first time I'm finding that out, considering this is the 4th draft. Well, okay, actually, I gotta give myself a little bit of credit. Part 4, which is the part that I am editing now, is actually newer. So this is not the 4th time that I'm editing this section, if that makes sense. But anyway, so just a funny little thing to point out. If to me, as I noticed that it was the 3rd time I had seen it in the session, it made me think of she let out a breath she didn't even know she was holding. I've never written those words, mostly because I've been too spooked to write them because of the teasing jokes about that line being so overused. But I think I found my version of that, which is the words fell off her tongue, or some sort of version of that. So I had to switch a couple of those around, which I just thought was amusing. Sometimes you find a sentence that you like and you want to use it over and over again because it makes sense in multiple contexts, because the words do be rolling off her tongue, They do be falling off that tongue. All that to say, I am ending for the night and going to just take a little break. Do I know what I'm going to do yet? no, sky's the limit. I'll figure it out. You will not see me until tomorrow morning, where I will be doing a morning session, and I'll be getting back to work, and we'll see how far I go tomorrow. All right? Okay. I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. I have done some editing this morning and making some really great progress. And now I'm deciding that I'm actually going to change locations a little bit. I am going to go to a cafe. Because of the winter weather, I've been staying inside quite a lot. It is snowing a little bit right now, but I think that I want to just get out of the house a little bit. I spend a little bit too much time inside these four walls. So I think I'm gonna go to the cafe and do a little bit more, and I think I'm gonna finish today. I know I have time scheduled for tomorrow, but as of right now, I only have 4 chapters left to edit. And so I'm thinking that I'm probably going to get done this morning, which is crazy. I say that every single time I finish a draft, but it always feels crazy. And there's a chance I may not get through it all. I actually do have some emails that I need to send as well. I still might not fully get through this, but there is a good chance that I will. All right, let's just go get into it. Keep trying to make interesting angles and different shots for you guys. And it requires me to, I don't know, do something like this. When you live in a small apartment, there's really only so much you can do, you know? Only so many angles of my bedroom and my living room that you can see. I finished draft 4. Yay! This one doesn't feel as surreal of an experience as it has in the past, mainly because I know that there wasn't a whole lot of edits done to this draft. A lot of it was just reading it over and doing a couple of changes here and there of lines, adding a couple of descriptions. It wasn't anything too major. I just really wanted to go through it again before I start querying this story again. A draft is still a draft, and I am super happy that I got this done. It wasn't what I was expecting to do at the beginning of this year, but when I was writing yesterday at the cafe, it was really fun. Fun? I don't know if fun is the right word. It was really interesting because I had gotten to the climax of the story, and the climax is quite emotional. And so I was sitting in like the front window of this coffee shop. I was getting emotional. Like I almost wanted to cry a little bit, which was just really funny. Just thinking about that. And I bring this up because there is a reason why I don't typically write in public, or at least it's never really happened where I've written a super emotional scene like that in public. Usually, when I'm writing those emotional scenes, I'm in the comfort of my home, and so I don't have to worry about what's going on around me. Yesterday, I got to the climax, and I forgot that there's a love confession essentially, and it's during this really vulnerable moment. And I was just sitting in this coffee shop, and I was so into editing that when I looked up at the end of the one chapter, I looked around and I was like, "Oh, right, I'm in public right now. I shouldn't be reacting this way to my own words." It was just really funny. But I adore writing in public. I think that one, it gets me out of the house, especially during the winter. It is super important for me to get out of the house because all I want to do is curl up and stay at home. But when it is nice and the weather is nice, I also like to go outside because it means that I'm getting sun and fresh air, which is also really great during the summer. It can be really hard as a writer or anyone who works from home primarily to just stay inside sitting at a desk all day. And so whenever I get the chance, I do like to go outside and work, which is why you'll see the first couple of videos on this channel is during August when I was drafting the first draft of my contemporary romance. I was spending a lot of time outside. And that is because I need an excuse to get outside, but also there's a lot of inspiration that you can get from writing outside in public, whether you're at a park or if you're at a cafe or at the library. I kind of switch around my writing locations when I can. It can lead to some inspiration that you're not realizing, whether it be from the people around you, from the nature around you. If you're in there's a art gallery near me that's a public space that it has a cafe in there, it has seating places, and so I also like to do my writing in there sometimes, especially a friend of mine who we write scripts together. We like to do it in public art spaces because if you're around and if you're having a hard time writing, we like to take a little walk around, look at the art around the space, and go, oh, this could be something that we can use. Like this reminded me of this, and that sort of thing. I just think it's really important to move around, even if you end up writing a very vulnerable emotional scene and you might want to cry a little bit in public, and that's okay. That just means that, I mean, for me, it means that it's a really good scene. If me, my, if me, myself, if, if I'm getting emotional about it, then that must mean that something there is good because I wrote these words. I wrote them, and I wrote them not too long ago, but I forgot that that was how that scene went in its entirety. Like I forgot certain dialogue choices that I made, and it was those choices that made me emotional. I don't really know where I was going with this. I guess just talking about the benefits of leaving your home and not writing at your desk all the time. And if you can't leave your home, even just moving around your space is also good. So that's why sometimes you'll see me at my main desk sit up, but then sometimes I will also just take my laptop into the dining room or into the living room and just kind of work in a different space because sometimes that's nice as well. You're still moving even if you're not leaving the home because sometimes you can't leave your home for whatever reason, but you still want the benefits of moving. I have finished draft 4. Now, what's next? I will be sending out some query letters. I'm hoping to do some of that tomorrow. So then I'll have at least, I think it was 33 more queries to send, and we'll see how that goes. I'll get responses within the set amount of time. Usually it's like 4 to 8 weeks depending on the agent. So I'll send out those queries tomorrow, and then next week I'm going to be getting back into draft 2 of Project Artlet, which is my sapphic contemporary romance. That one I haven't worked on since before the holidays. It is definitely going to be a little bit of a shock to get back into, and so it might take me a little bit to get back into that one, but I do want to finish up that draft. I'm probably about halfway through if I remember, but also could be entirely wrong. I have no clue where I'm at in that draft right now. And so that'll be a shock. And that one I am fully rewriting draft 2. I mean, I say fully rewriting. Essentially, I have draft 1 in front of me, and then I opened up a new document for draft 2. So a lot of the dialogue and stuff I've kept the same, but it's more leading up to the dialogue, and the descriptions is kind of what I'm rewriting. Typically do that for second drafts. I think it just helps in my process a little bit more to have at least 2 different versions of the same thing. I don't know. It's just kind of how my writing process works, I guess. That's what works best for me. And then after that's done, I have some exciting things planned for this channel. One of them is hopefully sometime next month, I'm going to finish scripting and then recording a video essay for this channel, which is something that I had talked about in a previous writing vlog. That is something that I would like to work on. I think that'll be something a little bit different for this channel, but is just a different way to use my brain, which I think will be a nice little challenge for me. And then I have a somewhat secret project that I'm working on as well that you will see more in the spring when the time comes. So lots of exciting things coming up. And even though I'm done drafting this novel for right now, that does not mean we are done, because we are not done with this. We got lots to go through. I always have something going on in my life in terms of my writing and this whole thing. So there's definitely not a shortage of content to make about it. That is it for me for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in my content, in my writing journey, in anything about me, please consider subscribing, liking this video. If you want to see more of my day-to-day, I post a little bit more on Instagram, which is at Meadow Marie. It's all pretty simple. It's just my name. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!